What if I told you that one of the greatest footballers of our time almost never made it? 99% of players would have given up after what he went through. Rejected. Forgotten. Even brought to tears by his own coach. Yet today he has rewritten history. But here's what they don't tell you. The psychological trick that made him unstoppable. The shocking betrayal that almost ended his career. And the small tweak that turned him into a goal-scoring machine. But before we reveal how Salah hacked his own mind to become a legend, there's one moment so heartbreaking, it could have ended everything before it even began. Let's go back to where it all started. Mohamed Salah didn't grow up playing on pristine pitches or in elite academies. His journey started in a small village called Nagrig, Egypt. At just 14 years old, he made a decision that would define his future. Traveling over 4 hours each way, every single day just to train with Al Mokulin in Cairo. 5 different buses. Leaving home at dawn. Returning past midnight. Most kids his age were playing for fun. Salah was sacrificing his childhood for a dream no one believed in but him. The exhaustion was unbearable. The setbacks were constant. But there was one thing his coaches noticed immediately, something that set him apart. It wasn't just his speed. It wasn't just his skill. It was something far rarer. A mindset so powerful that it would become his greatest weapon. But before we get to that, there's a moment in Salah's story that few people know. One that nearly stopped his rise before it even began. Let me show you what happened next. Talent can take you far, but mentality? That's what makes legends. Even at 15, Salah had something most players never develop. A relentless mental discipline. While his teammates trained on the field, Salah was training his mind. He once revealed his biggest secret. 15 minutes of mental work every single day. No distractions. No phone. Just silence. Sitting alone with his thoughts, visualizing his goals, pushing himself beyond his limits. It sounds simple, but it's harder than going to the gym for hours. Harder than endless drills. Because the real battle isn't on the pitch, it's in the mind. And that's what made Salah different. But even with his talent and discipline, there was one problem. He wasn't in the right position. His coaches were about to make a decision that would change everything. And it happened in a way no one expected. At 15, Salah was already making waves, but there was a problem. He was playing in the wrong position. His first coach at Al Mokulin saw his speed and work ethic and placed him as a left back. He defended well, ran tirelessly, but something wasn't clicking. Game after game he played his role, but something was missing. Then, during a training session, his coaches decided to try something different. What if they pushed him forward? It didn't take long for everyone to realize, Salah wasn't meant to defend. He was built to attack. His pace, his control, his hunger for goals, it was undeniable. And when he got his first chance up front, he didn't just take it. He owned it. From that moment, Salah transformed from a hard-working defender into a goal-scoring machine. But his biggest test was still ahead. Because soon he would face a moment so devastating, it nearly ended his entire career. And no one saw it coming. Just as Salah's career was taking off, disaster struck. It was 2012, and Egyptian football was about to experience its darkest moment, the Port Said Stadium tragedy. What started as a routine match between Al Masry and Al Ahly turned into a nightmare. Home fans stormed the pitch, attacking rival supporters. As people tried to escape, they found the exits locked. The result? 74 lives lost, over 500 injured. Egyptian football came to a standstill. The league was suspended. The entire season was cancelled. For Salah, everything he had worked for suddenly disappeared. No games. No future. No clear path forward. Many players left the country. Some even retired. But Salah? He refused to quit. And that's when fate gave him one last chance. A single match. A single performance. One that would change his life forever. For months, Egyptian football was frozen. No matches, no training, no hope. Then in March 2012, an opportunity appeared. A friendly match between Egypt's under-23 team and Swiss club FC Basel. For most players, it was just another exhibition game. For Salah, it was a lifeline. He didn't even start the match. He sat on the bench, watching, waiting. Then, at halftime, he got his chance. The second he stepped onto the field, something clicked. Salah exploded, scoring 2 stunning goals that left the Basel scouts speechless. By the final whistle, his life had changed. Basel immediately invited him to Switzerland for a trial. Weeks later they offered him a contract. He was leaving Egypt. Leaving behind everything he knew. But stepping into the unknown wouldn't be easy. Salah was about to face his toughest challenge yet. A new country, a new league, and pressure like never before. And at first it seemed like he wouldn't make it. Moving to FC Basel was a dream come true, but it came with a harsh reality. Salah was alone in a new country with a new language and a level of football he had never faced before. The pressure was immediate. Basel had just lost their star player Xherdan Shaqiri to Bayern Munich, and Salah was seen as his replacement. But replacing a fan favorite? That's not easy. At first, Salah struggled. The pace of the European game was faster, the tactics more complex, and the expectations sky-high. Some critics even doubted if he could handle it. But Salah wasn't just talented, he was relentless. He spent extra hours after training working on his finishing, studying the game, pushing himself harder than ever before. And soon it paid off. In the Europa League quarterfinals, facing Tottenham Hotspur, Salah stepped up, scoring a crucial goal that helped Basel knock out the English giants. Then, against Chelsea in the semi-finals, he scored again, this time at Stamford Bridge in front of the very club that would later come calling. Salah was no longer just a promising talent. He was a rising star. But his journey was about to take an unexpected turn. A turn that would lead him straight into his biggest failure yet. In January 2014, Salah's hard work finally paid off. Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, offered £11 million to bring him to England. It should have been the moment that cemented his place among the greats. But instead it became his worst nightmare. At Chelsea, Salah walked into a squad stacked with superstars, Eden Hazard, Willian, and Oscar. He barely got a chance to play. When he did, he showed flashes of brilliance, like scoring against Arsenal in a 6-0 win. But flashes weren't enough. His new manager, Jose Mourinho, wasn't convinced. By the start of the next season, Salah was barely making the bench. Then came the breaking point. After a poor performance against Shrewsbury Town in the League Cup, Mourinho lost faith in him completely. Salah was benched indefinitely. Rumors spread that Mourinho had publicly criticized him in the locker room, leaving him humiliated. Some reports even claimed Salah was in tears. In February 2015, Salah was sent on loan to Fiorentina in Italy. For most players, a mid-season loan is a step backward. For Salah, it was his only way back. The moment he arrived, he made it clear, he wasn't here to waste time. Within weeks, he scored his first goal and quickly became a fan favorite. But it was in the Coppa Italia semi-finals against Juventus where he truly made his mark. 2 goals. A 2-1 win. Suddenly, people were paying attention again. Salah wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. And he wasn't done yet. By the end of the season, he had 13 goal involvements in 26 games. Fiorentina wanted to keep him, but Salah had bigger plans. That's when AS Roma came calling. A club with a bigger platform, a bigger challenge, and a chance to prove he belonged at the top. This was it. His last chance to show the world who he really was. Salah's move to AS Roma in 2015 wasn't just a transfer, it was a second chance to prove himself at the highest level. This time he didn't just take it. He dominated. In his first season, Salah scored 15 goals and provided 6 assists, earning Roma's Player of the Season award. But it was in 2016-17 that he reached a whole new level. 19 goals, 15 assists, and a reputation as one of the most dangerous forwards in Europe. The critics? Silenced. The doubters? Proven wrong. And the world took notice. That's when Liverpool came knocking. At first, Salah was hesitant. He had already failed in England once. Was he really ready to go back? But Jurgen Klopp saw something no one else did. He believed in Salah. He told him, "This is the perfect place for you. You're going to be a star here." In 2017, Salah signed for Liverpool. And what happened next? He didn't just succeed. He rewrote history.